Today, I want to talk about what's gone wrong with the Rust console release. I want to talk about some of the solutions to these potential problems and just go over everything because I think for the community, it's good to get all this out there and then people can sort of pick and choose what they like and try to push that forward with D11, the developers of the console version of Rust. Before we get into it though, a lot of you have been saying I don't really have the right to criticize this game because D11 managed to give us a game on console that we didn't have on console before. So they're saying, well, you shouldn't criticize them. We got Rust. It's a hard thing to do and blah, 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 right? None of that's wrong. But here's the thing. If your friend invites you over to their house, they say they're going to make you a great steak dinner. You get there, there's a smell of burnt steak in the air. They've got a cheese pizza in the oven. They pull it out, sprinkle some special snow on it and call it a day. You don't really criticize them, right? You don't say anything because you know something went wrong. They're trying their best. They're a good friend. They're doing this for free. It is what it is, right? Like you still have a good night, you have a good time, and you let it go. Now, on the other hand, if your friend Dave comes over and tells you $50, he's going to get you into the sickest party ever. He hypes this party up like no one else has before. He tells you Joe Biden and Donald Trump are best friends now because that was the only way they could guarantee entry to this party. In fact, they're in the back room right now clapping cheeks because they want to get into this party that bad. That's how sick this party is, right? So you show up to this party. Dave's got a bottle of vodka. There's nobody else there. He chugs half the bottle and sticks a sparkler up his butt. That's not what you wanted to get, right? That is, you didn't sign up to see Dave get a career on live leaks. No, you wanted the sickest party ever and you didn't get it and you paid for that party. I think in that case, you'd have the right to call Dave a bit of a douchebag. You'd have the right to complain. You'd have the right to ask for your money back. And I think the second scenario is closer to what we got. Now, granted, nobody stuck a sparkler up their butt yet, and I don't really want to see that, but I think that's closer to what we got. I think that is more like what we got. We paid for something, and we're not really getting the product we paid for. So let's get into it. The number one complaint that I've seen, the number one thing that people are upset about is the fact that they don't have servers. They don't have solo servers. They don't have duo servers. They don't have 2x, 3x, 4x servers. They don't have aim training servers or anything like that. Now, the response to that has generally been D11 doesn't want to hire mods, and they don't want mods because that's sort of what you need for duo, trio, whatever servers, because obviously it's hard to prevent a clan, right? Like you can make team sizes smaller, but Zergs can still Zerg. However, an aim training server is 100% possible. We saw that in the beta, so they can definitely do an aim training server. And if they wanted to do a 2x, 3x, or whatever X server, that would be another thing that D11 could completely do. They've already got servers being hosted. They've showed in the beta that they have the capabilities to do this. Now they would have to take a bit of a hit in their pocketbook. They couldn't sell these servers as easily if all of a sudden they're hosting them. But I think that is something that they should be willing to do because, again, they took our money. They didn't provide on the experience. And at this point, we should already have community servers. So to make up for that error, they should at the very least be giving us some 2x, 3x aim training servers and things like that because that is what you need to do. You need to try and make your community whole when you mess up, especially when you've taken money from them, right? They took money from us. They promised us one experience. We're not quite getting that experience. So maybe we should get something in return. And even if that means down the line, it's going to hurt them a little bit, overall, it's going to be a positive experience for people. They're going to stick with the game and long term, they're going to make way more money through skin sales and everything like that. So if you're listening here at D11, I think it's time to turn on the community servers, at least the ones that you don't need to police, the ones you don't need to hire mods for. A 2x, 3x, 4x server, flip the switch on that baby. Turn it on, give it to us. And if you're talking about an aim training server or something like that, again, flip the switch, turn it on. Everybody spawns in with the AKs and we can all go nuts and shoot each other. It's not that hard to do. The servers are going to be a little overloaded at first. They might crash here and there, but people are going to be very grateful that you gave it to us. And it's going to be a huge W for the community overall. So I think that would alleviate a lot of the concerns that people have and a lot of the problems that people have with this game. If you're new and you want to practice building, you can go to a 5x or whatever X server, practice building. If you want to practice PvP, you can go to an aim training server. Because one of the big complaints people have is, as a new player, they can't get the ropes with this game, and they keep getting shot on the beach. The reason a lot of people are shooting nakeds, I've talked to people that are doing this, is because they want to train their aim. So again, if you give an aim training server where there's just PvP 24/7, that's where people are going to go to train their aim. Nobody wants to sit on a beach shooting nakeds, but when people need to practice their aim, they need someone to practice it on. And it turns out going to the fresh spawn area is the best place to go and practice. Again, if you're looking to snowball, you're obviously not out there trying to snowball off nakeds, or if you are, you're a complete moron. But yeah, a lot of people are going there just to practice their aim, and I think this could sort of alleviate a lot of those problems. The next big thing I've seen people complaining about is the fact that they don't have enough things to do. The maps are too small, the maps feel too crowded, and there's just no new monuments, and people feel like the game's stagnating. And again, easy solutions here, right? One of the problems I've got is monuments induce lag. One thing they could do is just introduce some new maps with new monuments on it, right? Like, let's cut out a few monuments, cut out Sewer Branch or something like that. Instead, put in Train Yard, just switch it out. It might induce some lag, but you could even put it into the early access servers, or what you could do, put it into servers and then label those servers as something. Label them as like, Train Yard servers. And then if people know that their game lags on Train Yard, they just avoid the servers that have Train Yard. And what this is going to do is it's going to do a few things, right? First off, if you want new monuments, you're going to get them. It's not going to be the best experience, but I think as long as you're forward with the community, you let them know sort of in the news section that you've implemented these servers, they can play on them, but it's going to lag for some people. It gets those people, like, they know what's going on and they can still give it a go if they want. And it's not going to lag for everybody. And some people are fine with the lag. If you're a gamer that lived through the 1990s, I think you're pretty used to lag. You're playing on a dial-up connection back then. Things are jumping all over the place. You'll probably be okay with playing on a little bit of lag on the server if you really want some new monuments or something fresh. And if you don't want that, you can go back to your old servers. In addition, this is going to give those next-gen players a huge thing that they can sort of play through and play with and experience. And a lot of people with next-gen are sitting here, they haven't felt any need for bug fixes. They haven't gotten anything out of the bug fixes. And they're saying, what about us, right? Because at first when the game launched, what it was is people on next gen were having a good experience, and people on consoles, people on the base gen, the base like Xbox One, PlayStation 4, whatever it was, they were having a horrible experience. So D11 did the right thing and they focused on that. But now the problem is these next gen players, they've been playing this game for like 2 months. It's been relatively a decent experience for them after like the first couple weeks of issues. And now they're saying, where's all these new updates we were promised? Easy way to give them those updates, release some of these Train Yard and Power Plant, some of these monuments that you've already tested in beta, and you said were just a bit too laggy. You can label these maps as something special. You can label them so people know that this might have issues with certain consoles, but at least just release them to people so they can play through them. Even just put them on the early access servers. I know they did hint that they're going to be doing this, but I think it's worth mentioning because I think this is something that should be done. And also, when we come to early access servers, right now, just open them up to everybody. You can close them back off at some point, and it is going to annoy some people with blueprints and all that. But what you do is you do that when there's a blueprint wipe, right? So the early access servers, everybody can use them up until a blueprint wipe comes out. Then you close those off to people who don't have the deluxe or whatever edition, or just never close them off at all because you messed up and you had to give people content, so you open them up to everybody. But what you don't want to do, I think, is give people something on the early access servers that everybody's been asking for, and then you paywall it because it's only available to people who paid X number of dollars more than the base console version. Now, that does mean that people who paid more are going to feel a little bit left out. So, people who paid more for it, paid more for the deluxe edition or the early access edition of the game. They do get ripped off a little bit, but you can make it up to them. And honestly, I think it's going to be better for the community overall. And it's going to be better for everybody if we get a game that there's more players in, because the more players you have in a game, the better it is. Like, especially a game that's all PvP multiplayer. You need players for that game to survive. And honestly, if you paid $70 or $80, you should be rooting for D11 to open everything up to everybody, because what you want is you want to make sure this game survives so that you can get your money's worth. So I'd say open early access servers up, or give people some new monuments somehow. And that's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure and a lot of stuff like that. And I think the last thing that needs to be done is there needs to be some servers that are separated for last-gen consoles. Right now, I'm playing on an Xbox One S, an Xbox Series S. Previously, I was playing on an Xbox One, and the experience is literally night and day. I want to make a video on this, but it is a night and day experience. On the Xbox Series, when I shoot a gun, it does not lag. On an Xbox One, when a gun goes off, it lags. So here's the problem. On Xbox One, if I'm playing primitive, I don't lag that much, so I personally prefer to play primitive. But on an Xbox Series, I love using a shotgun because they're just awesome. Like, seriously, if you're looking for an overpowered gun, just get a double-barreled shotgun. You can blow people away from a crazy range. It's a little broken, let's be honest. But yeah, like, That's the difference between these two, and you really need to separate those consoles because it is just such an unfair playing field right now. The fact that I can play with someone with an Xbox One is just aggravating for everybody, and if you do separate them, you need to make it a little bit more clear. I have noticed that there's like Xbox-only servers, but it seems like everybody can play together on those servers. It doesn't seem like there's just Xbox One-only servers, and I think that's something that needs to be added into the game. That would take a little bit of coding, that would take a little bit of work, but I think it's work that is worth doing. Unless all these issues are going to be miraculously fixed in the next couple weeks, I think it's something that needs to be done, because what's going to happen is next-gen players are going to feel like, current gen, or it's so confusing with these gens, because I don't want to call it current gen because not everybody can get it yet, because the consoles are literally sold out, and I don't want to encourage people to pay for scalpers. It's a ridiculous problem to have. But yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. The last gen, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, something needs to be done for those players, because right now what they're getting is a subpar gaming experience, and they're basically fodder for current gen players or people with more advanced systems. And it's not even because they couldn't pay enough. It's not because they couldn't save up the money. It's because they literally can't get their console, and they don't want to support scalpers. And that's something that everybody in the industry should be supporting, because scalpers ruin it for everybody. The last thing you want to do is have consoles that are sitting in someone else's hands that's not playing them and just asking for premium, because the scalper will sit on a console for a couple of weeks. They're driving up the demand for no reason, and they're causing players who actually want to play the game, people who actually want to game on these things, to not get them. It's the same problem I have with all these cryptocurrency people. They're buying GPUs up the wazoo because they just want to mine crypto. Who cares? All you're doing is destroying the environment because you want to make a couple bucks. It's complete bullshit. But basically, what they need to do is separate the two systems. At least give people that option. And the one option you don't want is just to give people the option of, like, you don't want just Xbox only. You don't want Xbox Series servers only, because if you've got a lesser system, you should be able to play with someone who's just on a better system that gives them an advantage. But you do want some servers for those people who are at a disadvantage, because right now a lot of them just feel like cannon fodder, and it feels like they're just there to sort of get shot at by people with better systems, and that isn't the experience that you want these people to have. So I think if you can do that, that would be a huge win. But even if you can't do that, again, if we go back to the aim training, we go back to those 2x, 3x, maybe even just make some like PvE servers, that would do it. And I think with community servers, they already have those options. So literally all D11 would need to do is start spinning up community servers, which we saw them do in the beta. So start spinning those servers up, hosting them out of their own pocket, and just take that loss, take that L, because what it means is put those servers out. Actually, here, perfect plan right here. Put out those community servers along with the skin shop right next to each other, right? Say, look, we took an L, we're taking an L on this one. We're putting some community servers out at a loss to ourselves. Or don't even say that because it seems greedy. Just put the servers out. Put the 2x, 3x, 4x servers, build-only servers, PvE servers, put out some aim training servers, and right along with that, put the skin shop. And what you do is you say, look, we've done our best to correct everything. We're going to keep working to make things better, but we're going to be putting the skin shop out for players who are enjoying the experience. And for those of you who aren't, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be releasing community servers hosted by D11 completely free of charge that you can use, that you can play the game on, that you can use to experience Rust the way you want to experience. If you're working 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, for those 2 days, we're putting you out a 5x server that you can get to endgame on. If you're one of those people who wants to just smoke some weed, get high as fuck, and play the game, we've got a PvE server for you. If all you want to do is be a sweaty Chad drinking Monster Energies 24/7 with stimulants up the wazoo and shooting people, we've got a PvP server for you. So go at it. You're not going to last that long, and we're not talking about in-game, but go for it. Like, they can do something like that, and I think that would be a huge win for the community, and overall, in the long term, it's going to be a huge win for D11, because what's going to happen is your community base is going to stick around, they're going to support you long term, and you're going to end up with a better experience for everybody. And it's going to be better for me, too, because there's going to be more people watching these videos. Anyways, I hope you guys like this. If you have questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to leave them down below. This one went way longer than I was expecting, but hopefully there was some sort of truth in this, and hopefully it can be sort of a voice of reason. Maybe someone from D11's listening and they can take some of these ideas and run with them. You don't even need to give me credit. Just do what you got to do and get that PR win. And not just a PR win. Let's get that community win. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you probably want to hit the subscribe button because I'm probably going to show up in your feed again, and it's just going to be embarrassing if you're not subscribed to me. So, let's avoid that whole awkward situation where, I say bye to you, you say bye to me, and then we end up walking in the same direction. Just hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.